The next and the last step to completing your project will be to outline around the felt. To do this, you will need your needle, of course, and you will also need embroidery floss, which you can come up and get from me. The embroidery floss is made up of strands of thread, and I'll give you about 15, 16 inches of this. Cut it. And before we put this into the eye of the needle, we want to split these strands into 3. There's a total of 6. We will split them in 3. Now when you're splitting them, you want to go slow, just pulling them apart slowly. If you pull apart too fast, they become knotted, and then you're going to have a problem because you're just wasting floss trying to throw it away and get something else. Now, if you're trying to get the end of the thread into the eye of the needle here, one way of doing it is by cutting, instead of cutting up and down, cut at an angle. You'll make more of a point that way. You can also wet it and kind of pull on the ends a little bit. And like your regular thread, you'll go ahead and put it into your needle and pull out a tail of thread about 3-4 inches. You will do the same thing on the other end of your floss. You go ahead, you wrap it around, I'm going to say 2 times because it is thick, and you roll it off like so, and you will have a knot. Now, like your other thread, we will be coming up from the bottom of your fabric, so the knot that you have here is hidden. And when you were sewing, you probably worked this direction, from right to left. When you embroider, you work from left to right. Let me show you. So I bring my needle up close to the edge of the felt, so you're not sewing on the felt at all. A simple thing that I used to teach students is a little rhyme. You skip a space, you bring your needle back, you stick your needle down, and you come up right at the end of your last stitch. You do not go into the stitch, you just come up right at the beginning of it, where it ended. And you pull it. Now don't pull too tight where it makes the fabric pucker. Always keep your floss above your work. You skip a space, take your needle, skip a space, stick your needle down into the fabric, and come up again where the last stitch was taken. You will continue to do this all the way around. From the last stitch, you skip a space, you go down, and you come up right at the end of the last stitch, right at the end, not in the stitch. You may need to pull it sometimes. Again, keep your floss above your work. In other words, if I am sitting here and I'm outlining the felt, your lines are going to get real jagged. It's not going to even look good. But keep your floss above from you, and you will get a smoother line. Again, take your needle, skip a space, go down into the fabric, and come again at the beginning of the last stitch. Come up, pull. Again, don't pull so tight. Okay, I'll try to make this a little bit closer so you can see what I have done. So you're outlining your white felt. It really makes the project stand out more and makes the colors kind of pop since you're outlining instead of just leaving the felt on the pillow alone. So again, if you can see this, you are going to skip a space, stick your needle into the fabric, come up again at the beginning of the last stitch, and pull. You want to make your stitches not too short, but you don't want to make them too long either. Again, the lines get really jagged. And that's what we're going to be grading on when we finish the pillow. Okay, so it's going to look pretty much like that. So you can see the difference between not having the embroidery floss and having the embroidery floss. When you don't have a lot of floss left, just take your needle, stick it down into the fabric, go to the other side, and your felt right now is in this area here. You will do what you do when you finish up your regular sewing. You just take a small amount of fabric, take your stitch, and instead of pulling all the way through, you're going to leave a loop. You then take your needle and you're going to go through the loop, like so, and pull on it. I would say the most you have to do that would be 2 times. And you put your needle through, you take your scissors, and you cut close to your stitch. Again, there is your stitch compared to nothing on this edge. So where you're going to embroider will be around the feet, the tummy, around the foot, around the beak. This eye should be brought down a little bit more into the yellow felt. If you can kind of just butt the ends up against each other, it'll be okay. And then you'll go around the white. You don't have to do around the black, and you don't have to do around the eye since it's black against white or white against black. Now, one other thing you will need to do to embroider will be putting the nostrils in the beak. Come up and I will do that, and you can go ahead and embroider those 2 nostrils. If you look at it and you say, you know, I think I would like to go around the entire piece of the yellow after you've done just the outside perimeter, be sure your felt is overlapped here. And start from here and embroider all the way around this part. That will really make it stand out. So this is embroidery again. Sewing is from left to right. You only use 3 strands of floss. I may give you 6 just so when you're ready to start another one, you'll have the extra strand as well. The last step that we will do will be to take the pillow, take the back piece of the pillow, lay it on top of this, and we're going to sew on the sewing machine all the way around here at 5/8 of an inch to sew it shut. We're going to leave an opening so that we can flip it right side out like you would a sock, and then we're going to put our stuffing into the pillow there. Stuff the edges really well first, and then we're going to sew this opening shut. I'll do another video, our last video on this project. This Friday we are going to be grading you just on the hand sewing of the felt to the fabric. Also, the smoothness of your lines around the edge. If you have jaggedy edges, of course, that's a couple points off, but if it's a smooth cut all the way around, that's an A. Any questions, please feel free to come up and ask.